if you've been around for a couple of years and still aren't seeing at least 5K months, like, are you really prioritizing being forward facing, selling your services every single day, being really clear on your messaging, being clear on the results that you can help your clients achieve? And are you in integrity with that? You're listening to the From Imposter to Empowered podcast. I'm your host, Jill Perrick, a business and mindset coach who specializes in imposter syndrome. If you feel like you're not as smart, capable, or worthy as you actually are, and that someone is going to find you out, then you've come to the right place. I went from being a struggling government worker, working my coaching business on the side, but feeling unworthy and burnt out, to making multiple six figures helping women overcome imposter syndrome so they too can sign clients, make bank, and have the business or career of their dreams. I am nothing special. I have a stuttering disability, ADHD, and I struggle with anxiety and depression. So if I can learn how to feel good enough and overcome my inner imposter, then so can you. Let's dig in. Hello, my loves. Welcome back to the From Imposter to Empowered podcast. I'm so happy to have you here, as always. And today, we're going to talk about the art of selling every day and how it stacks your motherfucking paper, and how I locked in $52,000 in high-ticket sales in 60 days. And guys, when I calculated this, I was surprised. Like, not surprised in like, oh my God, I can't believe this happened, because I'm obviously always working towards big sales months, big cash months, etc. But it was more so like, damn. Like, I am not somebody who pores over my numbers or anything like that at all. But when I calculated that I basically made more than what I would get in my full-time job back when I used to work for the government in a year, and I did that in 60 days in my business, I was like, that is insane. Insane in a good way. And I just want to reiterate to you guys, which I say all the time, but celebrate the fuck out of everything that happens in your business. Because the thing is there actually are no big milestones that people have decided on for the coaching industry, for the online industry. Like, you have to determine what your milestones are, and you have to celebrate the fuck out of everything that happens in your business, because when you struggle with imposter syndrome, it's so easy to downplay your results. It's really easy to be like, okay, well, I don't want to celebrate like this 10,000. I'm going to celebrate when I make 20,000, or I'm going to celebrate when I sign 50,000, right? Like, I signed $52,000 worth of high-ticket clients in the last 60 days, but there are some people who have had a $50,000 cash day yesterday, right? And it's so easy to downplay your results in that way, even when you're getting big wins like this. And it only gets to that point even more when you put yourself in rooms where people are achieving really big things. And like, I've always been in rooms and been mentored by people who are doing better than me and people who are achieving really big things, because I've been able to overcome any shame that I feel, any imposter syndrome that I feel, any sisterhood wound that I have and stuff like that. I've been able to overcome that stuff so I can insert myself into places where I am the little fish in the big pond. And I'm totally okay with that, because it just inspires me to go bigger. It inspires me to take more action. And that's what I fucking love about it. So again, when it comes to this episode, I really wanted to share the behind the scenes of me locking in these sales over the past 60 days that are going to be carried into the next 6 months. So if you're confused about cash versus sales, first of all, let me tell you, I used to be confused about this. But cash is cash received in your bank account. So if I signed a $10,000 client today, but it was on a payment plan, so she paid me $2,000 today, then that would be $2,000 cash, but a $10,000 sale. So when I say $52,000 in sales over the span of 60 days, I have made $52,000 in sales, and that is going to be carried out over the next 6 months. And it's sales for the From Imposter to Empowered program, which is my group program. If you're somebody who's making between 0 to 3K a month and you're really trying to hit that 5K a month mark. And it's also for the Fraud Squad Mastermind, which is my mastermind for if you are hitting 4K to 5K months, you're trying to hit that 10K mark, then that is for you. And it's sales from my one-to-one coaching. There's a couple course sales in there as well. And aside from my course sales or any upsells from my freebie, my sales are mainly high ticket, which means over $1,000. So people classify high ticket in different ways, but I personally classify it as over $1,000. And these high ticket sales are not like master classes, not one-off things. This is from long-term commitments. And I think that this is really important to mention because I've been working on my offer suite for the last year. I've been building it up. I've been adding things that have made total sense to my customer journey and how people are going to come through the business. And I think this is something that people are not thinking about. And here's why. It's actually kind of important for you to think about this because there is a maturity to being intentional with your business. There is a maturity with being intentional about where people are going to go in your business, how you're planning to get the results that you want to get. And I think the reason why some people don't plan is because they're afraid that their plan isn't going to work. They're so afraid that they're going to have a situation where they have a launch or they have a sale or they want to launch their one-to-one offer and sell it. And if things don't go to plan, if they don't hit the launch goal, if they don't sign the clients, then they're going to be like, what the fuck is the use of this plan? And they're just going to throw it to the wayside and then choose to not plan again, right? And I was in this like an analysis paralysis place for a very long time where I did not create anything new for like 2 years. I did not create a group coaching program. I didn't launch any type of like master classes or anything at all. I hardly created any new resources. I was in a very stuck place because I was not being creative at all. And I was convinced that if I had a plan and it didn't go to plan, I wouldn't be able to handle it emotionally because I had a couple of years where I didn't have like the greatest launches or didn't sign people the way that I wanted to, didn't see the income that I wanted to, even though I have maintained 6-figure years. It's very easy to get caught up in your own thoughts and be very caught up in I'm not achieving as much as the next person is, blah, blah, blah. I also had debt. So I had debt that I had to pay off. So it always felt like I was catching up when it came to like the bills and the debt and everything like that too. So it was very easy for me to downplay the success that I was having because I was constantly telling myself that it wasn't enough. And literally in the time, and I've talked about this before, I was in a coaching container where I felt like I could never do anything right. And there was this set standard for success. And I think the biggest thing that has set me free and has allowed me to venture off is just doing things the way that I want to fucking do them. Doing my offer suite the way I want to do it, running my business the way that I want to run it. And I've seen massive success since then, like skyrocketing success since then. I've always had success, like I said. And that's not to say too that I haven't failed because I have several times over, but it's pretty impossible to fail if you're not going to quit. Like it's really hard to fail in the online space unless you quit because it doesn't fucking matter how many times your launches flop or how many people say no. I remember that there was a time back in 2020, I had this group program and I sent out private invites for it and I got 12 no's in a day. Like I got 12 no's, but I also got 10 women into that program. And I think that it's really important for me to say that because I got a shit ton of no's and I have just really strong resilience to things like that now, even as somebody who has ADHD, even as somebody who has rejection sensitivity dysphoria, and it depends on my cycle as well. And I can be really sensitive to rejection and criticism. And I've talked about this in one of the episodes here in July, but emotional resilience is so necessary, no matter how fucking sensitive you are. It is necessary when you're growing a business because your business rejections and your failures aren't personal. It is just feedback. It's just information. Okay, so anyways, I was in a container where I did not feel like I was being supported to follow my business dreams. The things that I wanted to do in my business weren't good enough. They had a very set standard for this is how you run your business, and if you do not have success within these confines, you are not successful. So that is kind of an inside look into what my inner dialogue started to become because I started feeling like I could never do anything right and my business was failing, I was failing, etc. I actually had a coach say that to me. She said something like, I think you're sick of always failing. And like at the time I was like, ooh, yeah, that's good coaching. And now I'm like, that was bullshit coaching. It was terrible. Anyways, so obviously I'm not going to quit. That is never even an option. I'm never going back to my full-time job ever again. So even though I wasn't going to quit, I still felt like a failure, but I had to figure it out. And now fast forward to now, and I created an Instagram post about this, about how I completely revamped my offer suite in 1 year, in almost less than a year actually. I went from having one offer, which is my one-to-one coaching, to having a group offer, a mastermind, 3 courses, 2 bundles, 2 freebies with sales sequences attached to them, as well as one-to-one coaching. And that happened within the span of a year. So I did the work for all of these. They all have different sales pages. Like when I say I revamped my offer suite, I revamped my offer suite. I revamped everything, created a whole new website, etc. And I am just now starting to see the compound effect of that. And it is stacking so fast. And I'm not saying that you need to have a full ass offer suite to stack your paper. But what I am saying is that I was so intentional about the fact that I'm going to do what I want and how do I want to run my business when I think about a client coming into my world and what kind of customer journey do I have for them, and thinking about what my potential clients need. So for example, I started creating these courses. So I have the Fraud Squad, which is the first thing that I originally started with when it came to this new offer suite. It was just a group program and it was such an evolution, and it turned into my mastermind. And then I had the idea to do the From Imposter to Empowered group program. But before that, I was doing courses. So I thought to myself, okay, so when clients come into these containers that I have for coaching, it would be really great for them to be able to have these courses for information that I don't have to reiterate to them over and over and over again. In terms of like showing up and selling every day, messaging, content, how to do a sales sequence on your Instagram stories, right? Like all of these things that are going to help them achieve the result that they want. So I really focused on how are my clients going to get the best fucking result, and I'm super happy with how my offer suite has turned out. So it was not created from this place of I'm going to be so successful. Like, of course I am going to be successful, but it was inevitably going to be successful because it was created from what I wanted to do. So the point of all of this is saying that the work I did on my curriculums for all my group offers and on the courses that I created, on the bundles that I created. So when you sell every single day, you create that stacking energy. And when I say sell every day, I don't mean on the weekends, okay? We're talking Monday to Friday. And I actually recently had a new client ask me, now when you say sell every day, do you mean sell every day? And I said, yes. Yes, I mean sell every single day. And I know that this client consumes the majority of the content that I put out. And it was so interesting to me because I was like, you don't even notice that I sell every day, right? And it's not that that's a problem, that this client didn't notice that I sell every single day. What I'm saying is people are not paying as much close attention to you as you think that they are. And when you sell every day, you make it a part of your process for running your business. And when you prioritize the social media aspect, the showing up, the content, it is not so you can see results in an hour. Now, of course, I've had slides that I put up about an offer and then that offer is sold out within a couple of hours. I had a mastermind client in the Fraud Squad. She put up a slide for a brand new offer and 6 people inquired about that offer from one story slide. So I'm not saying that it doesn't happen, because it totally does as you build brand and offer awareness. But it comes from selling every single day and having clear messaging and being consistent with that clear messaging. But it also comes from your visibility, just being visible. And again, I'm not saying that you can't create quick results. You absolutely can. But for the sake of this episode, what we're talking about is stacking the paper over time and how selling every day is going to be so beneficial for stacking the paper. And when people ask, again, like, what do you mean with selling every day? I mean making a direct offer on your Instagram stories, on your posts, not telling yourself that you're being annoying, not telling yourself that people don't want to hear from you, not telling yourself that you're saying the same thing over and over again and that you're bored. Because again, the thing is, people don't give as much of a fuck as you think that they do. They are not watching you to criticize you. They are not watching you and saying, I can't believe she's selling to me, blah, 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 blah. You know, like real talk, if somebody is not happy with you selling, they're probably never going to buy from you, right? Like they're probably never going to buy from you. I have had clients who are like, I love that you don't sell in a way that feels like you're selling. I'm like, I feel like I'm selling, you know, like I sell every single day, all day. And I don't expect people to be mind readers. I don't expect people to like see an Instagram story of me going on a walk with Hugo and thinking, you know what, I'm going to reach out to Jill about her offer. I'm thinking about the fact that like I am going to make it so crystal fucking clear that I am selling something and that you are invited to my party. You are invited to inquire about this offer to improve your life, to improve your business, to improve your mindset. And I said this in the last episode about not saying enough. And like I said, you're probably not fucking saying enough when you sell your offer. You are probably not saying enough instead of thinking that you're being too much. When it comes to the online space, you could actually never be too much. The people who are too much in real life are just enough online, you know? So when you tell yourself, I don't need to sell every day, you aren't making it a priority for your business. And it makes sense to me why the results aren't stacking even weeks and weeks later. And I know that there's probably this like egoic part of you that wants to say, but that's not moving the needle, blah, blah, blah. But bitch, you working on your website and you working behind the scenes, like, oh, I'm working on something behind the scenes. Have you seen that in terms of like somebody putting up this like, what's that word? Putting up this very like, mysterious, what's the other word for that? The mysterious like Instagram story, like working on something, and it's like, okay, but are you gonna sell me anything? Right? Like, it makes sense to me why your sales aren't stacking on top of each other when you are not selling every single day. And I remember when I shifted this back in 2020, I started making it be like my number one priority to show up and sell every day. And of course I had to do stuff for the offers I had. And this is not me saying don't do any back end work. Of course, do the back end work. Of course, work on your resources and your curriculums and all that shit. But like your top priority should be working with your clients and selling. Seriously. Like if you are not making 5K a month, 10K a month, even I would say as you start to hit like the mid 5-figure range, like $20,000 to $30,000 months, like at that point, you start to have systems in place to sign clients and blah, blah, blah. But for a lot of the time, forward-facing marketing and direct selling is going to be one of the most important things when it comes to you making money. And it's very important for you to realize that. And I think this is where a lot of people struggle within the first couple of years, or if you've been around for a couple of years and still aren't seeing at least 5K months, like, are you really prioritizing being forward facing, selling your services every single day, being really clear on your messaging, being clear on the results that you can help your clients achieve? And are you in integrity with that? Right? Like I have been on calls with people before, and this will either be an intensive or if I do market research, and they're like, but I am selling a result, blah, blah, blah. But I can just tell that this person wasn't embodied with the result. And I think that's also something that's really important. It's like, okay, well, if you are showing up and selling every day, obviously there are things to tweak, and there will always be things to tweak. You will always be tweaking your messaging. You will always be working on your online visibility and your presence and how confident you feel. But at least being visible and selling your offers and being like, I'm not fucking going anywhere, will stack the paper because of the relentless visibility. Like I know that I stack the paper every single week because of my relentless visibility, because I'm selling a result and I'm very clear on it and I'm very confident in it and I have very clear messaging. And I know people have qualms about consistency, but consistency is just not that complicated when you make it a non-negotiable in your business and if you identify as a consistent person. So even though I am inconsistent in other areas of my life, which I totally am because I have ADHD and I fall off routines that I have all the time, but I don't see showing up and selling as a routine. I see it as a fucking business task. I am a business owner. I see it as something that is integral for my business to run. So it's not just something that is like for you. Like it's not something that you can just like figure out to do in a day. It's for your fucking business. It's for your potential clients and for your future self. And the stacking of the paper is done by realizing that your visibility and how you are selling your offer every single day is going to compound and stack on each other, and it's going to create results in your future. Because let me tell you guys, which I think I already talked about this on the pod, but when I first sold the From Imposter to Empowered program, I only got one person inside, and she's amazing. I love her so much. But I really didn't give a shit because I knew that this offer did not have the brand or offer recognition that a lot of my other offers have. So essentially, my audience didn't really know about it and it was new to them, blah, blah, blah. But I had to really introduce this program, and I did. And now I have like 10 people inside, right? Like, because I have stacked the paper, because I've compounded the results, and I've shown up and sold the offer almost every single day. If I'm not selling the From Imposter to Empowered program, I'm selling the Fraud Squad Mastermind or one-to-one coaching or a course. And essentially what's happening here is that people know I'm fucking selling something. People know that when I show up, I'm there to show up and sell. Like, your Instagram is not a blog. Your Instagram is not a hobby. I was actually talking to somebody in the DMs and she was like, I don't want to do a lot of sales content. Well, then people aren't going to buy from you. If you don't want to say, here's how you can work with me, and you kind of are doing this like run around, I'm going to give you a lot of value and I'm never going to sell you anything. Like, don't be surprised when you don't stack the paper. And that's the whole reason you started your Instagram in this business, right? Like, this is why you're on this fucking train. People are so afraid to sell. They're so afraid to put themselves out there. They're so afraid to not be liked and be told that they're doing too much, or to be like, you shouldn't talk about money. You shouldn't talk about this. But like, this is your business. This is your business and this is your fucking livelihood, right? Like, I am not an influencer. If I did not have the business, I would hardly ever use social media. I really wouldn't. I would scroll on TikTok and that's it. I love seeing like the get ready with me's, and I love seeing people like vlog their days and all that shit. But I am not a natural content creator. I am not somebody who is going to pick up my phone and think about recording my day or what I'm doing, anything like that. I have my business to sell. And I love what I do. I love what I do. I fucking love coaching so much. And I know that running my own business, there is a part of it that is the marketing and selling piece of it. I am responsible for my own self-promotion. And I know that I am stacking and I am saving. It's almost like the savings account that we have for the wedding. It's like we are depositing until we withdraw from that bank account. Right? And that's my intention for my offer suite, was to create this stacking energy, to sell these offers every single day, to create these high ticket sales. So it is so worth it when I am showing up and selling, because you can spend the same amount of time selling a masterclass as you can selling a group program. And then you can get paid $50 for the masterclass versus getting paid $2,000 for a group program, right? There was something I said that I really want to touch on in the post about the $52,000 in sales in the last 60 days on Instagram. I talked about what it took to sell every day, and like the resilience and the consistency behind that. And that is being a consistent person and just identifying as a consistent person. As I said, like seeing it as a business task. But there was also the mindset and the resilience part behind that, like the emotional part of it. And that is not needing the validation for when I sell my offer. And I fucking get it, guys. It can be so hard to sell your offer for X amount of time and not seeing the results from it. But I learned how to not make that a problem very early on in my business, and do whatever you need to do, right? Like if you feel like you get bored with selling and saying the same thing, like mix it up, have fun with your content, say spicy things, right? But never stop selling your offers. I never stop selling my offers, even if I have a down day, even if I feel like, oh my God, like things aren't working, this thing isn't selling. I've gone like a week or two without an inquiry, because that is not when the sales are created, right? Like your sales are not created from you taking one action. Your sales are created by you showing up on those days where like you think that people aren't caring and they're not watching, but they are building upon of their opinion. They are seeing you talk about it and they are getting closer and closer to the finish line. And that's how I think about it all the time, is like they are getting closer and closer to the finish line of deciding to work with me. And every time I talk about my offer, every time I share a win, every time I talk about it in an excited, passionate way, I am pushing somebody closer and closer to joining that offer. You have to be able to handle the lack of emotional validation that you're not going to get when you're somebody that has an online business, because your business relies on self-promotion, like I said, and you will create all the stories in your head if you don't see the results, and you have to fucking ignore them. You have to create a different narrative in your brain. This is why the work that I do with clients is so powerful, because we're not just doing the strategy. I'm not just teaching you how to show up with clear messaging, how to be consistent, how to talk to your potential clients. Of course we do all of that, but I'm also helping you manage your fucking brain. I'm also helping you and teaching you how to think differently, how to think in a more empowered way, how to fucking validate yourself. And these skills are helping you build emotional resilience so you can run a successful, profitable business and stack the fucking paper unbothered, completely unbothered. You probably have thoughts of, if somebody doesn't reach out to me today, that means this offer is shit, or I'm not good enough, blah, blah, blah. And I actually talk about this in my launch course, The Perfect Launch Vault, but I say how your actual offer is never the problem if it doesn't sell. It is always you and the lack of validation you're receiving and how you handle that and how you're selling the offer. And like I said, there's always room for improvement when it comes to nailing down your messaging and selling your offer. And even 6 years in, it's been 6 years of me selling online, and I finally feel like I know what to say and how to say it to sell. And I've not always felt that way. And that's because selling each and every day is an art form. It is a skill. It is a skill that you learn. It is something that you are not automatically good at unless you are somebody who has that experience in sales and marketing. And even then, there is an art form to selling online. There is an art form to selling online, and if you are wanting to learn that art form in your own way, if you're wanting to show up and sell consistently without burning out, if you are wanting to not need the validation from your audience and you just want to be a force to be fucking reckoned with online, you're going to want to join the From Imposter to Empowered program. And this is the program for you if you want to overcome imposter syndrome, if you want to learn how to show up consistently without burning out, if you want to sell your offers with confidence every single day so you can hit 5K bare minimum months in your business. And if this is you, if this is what you're working towards, then you're going to want to join the From Imposter to Empowered program. But instead, if you are somebody who is sitting at the 4-figure a month mark, you've made 4K, 5K months here or there, but you're ready to completely skyrocket to 10K plus months, have the offer suite of your dreams, expand on your already consistent visibility, be more of an expert, be the undeniable choice in your niche, then you're going to want to join the Fraud Squad Mastermind. And these are my 2 core offers. So the From Imposter to Empowered program and the Fraud Squad Mastermind. You can go to the link in my show notes and see all the details for that on the sales pages, etc. And you can also send me a DM at Your Coach Jill over on Instagram, and we can chat about which container is the best fit for you. There is an option for everybody. And on the episode that we have for you next week, you're actually going to be able to get a sneak peek into the From Imposter to Empowered curriculum, which you will receive as soon as you join the container, as well as my 3 courses on content sales and launching, as well as hot seat coaching calls, the Slack community, so you can get support each and every day. There is just no reason as to why you should not be in either the From Imposter to Empowered program or the Fraud Squad Mastermind. Okay? I love you guys so, so much, and I will see you next week for our last episode in July. Bye. Thanks so much for listening to the From Imposter to Empowered podcast. Head to the show notes to learn how you can work with me, where you can buy my best-selling book, You're Not Special, and how to get on my email list for free. Screenshot this episode and add it to your Instagram stories, tagging me at Your Coach Jill. See you next time.